Imagine the absolute chills running down your spine right now because 60 years later, the most legendary name in franchise history is walking back through those doors to interview for the job that built this city's sports identity. We are staring at a massive fork in the road that will define the next decade of Miami Dolphins football, and the choice is stark. Do we chase the faded glory of another so-called offensive genius who just got fired for the same reasons we let our last coach go? Or do we embrace destiny, harden our identity, and bring the Shula name home where it belongs? This isn't just a routine coaching search anymore. This is a battle for the soul of this team, and the updates we got today have completely flipped the script. What is going on, Dolphins Nation? Welcome back to the show. We are right in the thick of the most critical week of the offseason, and the news is flying in faster than we can process it. I need you to stop what you are doing right now and hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share this video because we are tracking every single interview, every rumor, and every breaking update on the road to 80,000 subscribers. We are only 15 away, so join the movement because you do not want to miss a second of this coverage. Let's get right into the heavy hitter that is everyone talking, and quite frankly, it has me absolutely terrified. We have to talk about Kevin Stefanski. The news broke Friday morning from NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero that Stefanski is lining up multiple second interviews. The league clearly still views him as a viable head coach, and it sounds like he will be patrolling a sideline somewhere in 2026. But here is the massive sigh of relief for everyone in aqua and orange, because when Pelissero rattled off the teams expected to land him, Miami was noticeably absent. Yes, we interviewed him last Monday. The front office did their due diligence, and they viewed him as a candidate. But the noise right now is centering around the Tennessee Titans, the Baltimore Ravens, and specifically the Atlanta Falcons as the favorites to hire him. And to that, I say, good riddance. I need to be real with you guys because I know some of you might look at his resume and see the Coach of the Year awards and think he's a safe bet. But I am not in on Kevin Stefanski, not even a little bit. If you were sitting there hoping for him, I have to ask you a rhetorical question that you really need to consider. After everything we just watched over the last 4 years, why on earth would you want to sign up for the exact same experience all over again? Think about it. We just moved on from Mike McDaniel. We fired him because of specific, maddening issues that plague this team. So why would we hire a coach who mirrors those exact same flaws? You look at Stefanski's exit from Cleveland, and you see a mirror image of the frustrations we just lived through. The pre-snap penalties in Cleveland were out of control. Does that sound familiar? Their special teams unit was a complete disaster for half a decade. Does that ring a bell? Miami has been stuck in the bottom 5 of special teams rankings for 4 years running. We cannot afford another head coach who treats the third phase of the game like an afterthought. And then there is the play calling. Stefanski had to give up play calling duties twice to spark his offense. That is a massive red flag for an offensive guru. But the biggest issue? It's the decision-making. Stefanski was the guy pounding the table for the Browns to trade 3 first-round picks and hand a fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson. That decision alone set that franchise back years. If our GM's first question to Stefanski wasn't, "What were you thinking with that trade?" then we are doing it wrong. I don't want the guy who starts hot, struggles for 2 years, catches lightning in a bottle with a backup quarterback like Joe Flacco, and then immediately crashes the team back into the top 10 of the draft. That is instability. That is chaos. And quite frankly, Miami has had enough of that. It feels like the Dolphins are pivoting away from him, and thank goodness for that, because there are better options on the table. Now, let's pivot to the news that actually matters. The interview that is happening today. The name that carries more weight in this city than any other. Chris Shula. This is the headline. The grandson of the Don. The man whose grandfather built the perfect season is officially interviewing for the Miami Dolphins head coaching job today. And before you write this off as just a nostalgia play or a PR stunt by the front office, you need to look at the reality of the market. Chris Shula is arguably the hottest coordinator in the entire NFL right now. Out of the 9 teams with head coaching vacancies this cycle, 7 of them put in a request to interview Chris Shula. 7. That isn't an accident. That is the entire league telling you that this guy is the real deal. But here's where it gets interesting. Because the Rams are preparing for a massive divisional round playoff game against the Bears on Sunday, Shula has a tiny window to talk. He only had Friday and today to conduct interviews. And who did he choose to talk to? He prioritized 3 teams: Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and the Miami Dolphins. That tells you everything you need to know about where his head is at. He is looking for a fit, and he clearly views Miami as a premier destination. When you look at the prediction markets and the chatter coming out of Vegas, it is backing this up. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorites, but the Miami Dolphins are sitting right there at number 2. In fact, Shula is currently the second highest favorite to land the Miami job, trailing only Jeff Hafley. This is real smoke, folks. So, let's strip away the last name for a second. Let's pretend his name is Chris Smith. Is he qualified? Absolutely. He is young, just 39 years old, but he has been grinding in the NFL trenches for a decade. He didn't just walk into a job, he climbed the ladder. He started as an assistant at Ball State, joined the Rams in 2017, and worked his way up every single rung of that organization. Assistant linebackers coach, outside linebackers coach, defensive backs coach, pass game coordinator, pass rush coordinator, and finally, defensive coordinator replacing Raheem Morris. He has coached every single position group on the defense. That is rare. Most guys specialize in the secondary or the defensive line. Shula knows the entire front and back end because he has run the meetings for all of them. But the thing that sells me on him isn't just his resume. It's his ability to develop talent. Look at what he did with the Rams defense this past year. Is it the most talented unit in the league? No. But look at the improvement. From his first year as DC to his second, every major metric got better. Points per game allowed dropped, rushing defense tightened up, and total yards allowed improved. And look at the reclamation projects. Take Emmanuel Forbes. This guy was a first-round pick by Washington, drafted 1 spot ahead of Christian Gonzalez, and he looked like a total bust. He was unplayable. He gets to Los Angeles, and suddenly, under Shula's system, he looks like a competent, productive NFL corner. That is coaching. That is identifying a player's strengths and hiding his weaknesses. We have seen him do it with rookies like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, turning them into absolute monsters on the defensive interior. He gets the most out of his guys. He adapts. And if he doesn't get a head coaching job this cycle, I guarantee you he will be the number 1 candidate next year. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. So this brings me to the big question of the day, and I want you to be honest in the comments section right now. This is a topic that divides the fan base, so I need to know where you stand. Should the Dolphins embrace history and hire Chris Shula, or is the pressure of his grandfather's legacy too much for a first-time head coach to handle? I want to know what you think. Type H for hire if you are ready for the Shula era part 2, or type P for pass if you think we should go with a more experienced option. I'm seeing a lot of people worried about the Nepo baby label, but when you look at the results on the field, the guy can flat out coach. Let me know what you think down below. Personally, I think it would be incredible. Even if you take the emotion out of it, the idea of a defensive-minded head coach who demands discipline and toughness is exactly what this team needs after the finesse era of Mike McDaniel. Pairing Chris Shula with our front office feels like a fresh start with a nod to the glorious past. However, if I have to put my money on it right now, I have a prediction for you. I think we are looking at our final 3. When the dust settles and the finalists are announced, I believe it's going to come down to Jeff Hafley, Jesse Minter, and Chris Shula. I think Jeff Hafley is the leader in the clubhouse right now. He's the favorite for a reason, and many insiders believe he is the guy. But don't sleep on Jesse Minter. We've talked about him extensively. He is arguably the best defensive coordinator in the cycle, a national champion at Michigan, and he has done unbelievable work with the Chargers. Stephen Ross loves that Michigan connection, and Minter is a tactician. But Chris Shula is right there. If he nails this interview today, if he walks into that room and commands the presence that his grandfather did, it might be impossible for Ross to say no. It's a 3-horse race, and all 3 of them are defensive minds. That tells you the organization is correcting course. They are done with the offensive flash. They want grit. They want defense. And frankly, that is the only way we are going to compete in this division moving forward. We need a culture shift, and any of these 3 men can provide it. But Shula brings that extra layer of destiny that is hard to ignore. Whatever happens, the next 10 days are going to shape the future of this franchise. We will know very soon if the Shula name is coming back to South Florida. We are going to be tracking the flight logs, the rumors, and the interviews all weekend long. We aren't taking a day off until a new coach is standing at the podium. So make sure you are locked in. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video with the latest updates. Fins up.